You know what really grinds my gears? What really upsets me? What really just makes me waiting. I can't stand waiting in a line. I can't stand waiting for something that somebody has promised me. I can't stand it. Waiting is the hardest and it's the worst and I don't like it. But we can't help that, can we? We have to wait sometimes. I'm going to tell you a story about a time where I had to wait and it was painful and it was hard, but God taught me something through it and I'm going to share that with you today. I knew many, many years ago that I would have trouble getting pregnant someday. My husband knew this as well, but we were patient. We weren't exactly sure what God wanted with this, but one day, as I was sitting in my car outside work, while I was just sitting there, I don't know, but I was sitting outside work in my car worshiping with one of my favorite worship leaders on the radio. Her name's Rita Springer, and she kept singing these lyrics. She kept singing, "I'm in love with justice. I'm in love with justice." And I thought about that. I thought, okay, are we talking about the characteristic of God being a just God, or is she talking about a person? And what in the world? And as I was sitting there in my car, I will never forget the feeling of God pressing on my shoulders and saying, "Shanon, you will have a child and you will name the child Justice." And I just died laughing right there in the car. Like, I've received this message, but I just died laughing. Kind of reminds me of Sarah in the Bible. Go look it up. So I laugh and I say, "Lord, if that is true, you're going to have to make Matt, my husband, say that name on his own without any help from me." Weeks go by. He and I are out in Destin at Callahan's having a wonderful dinner date. And even though we weren't pregnant, we decided, we're just going to try some names out. This is kind of weird, but we're just going to try some names. And so he says, "What about the name George?" No. "What about the name David?" No. And he says, "What about the name Justice?" And I looked at him and I just started bawling my eyes out. And he said, no, it's okay. We don't have to name the child Justice. It was just an example from the Atlanta Braves, David Justice. Don't you know what I'm talking about? And I just kept crying. And finally I calmed myself and I said, "You don't understand. That's the name that God told me. So you know what this means? That our waiting has not been in vain. Our waiting has not been without purpose. God's going to deliver on his promise." The point is that we can trust God in his promises. And listen to this proverb, Proverbs 3. And this version I'm reading is from the Message. So it might sound a little bit different than what you're used to, but I love how, just listen. Trust God from the bottom of your heart. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Listen for God's voice in everything you do, everywhere you go. He's the one who will keep you on track. Don't assume you know it all. That deserves to be read again. Don't assume that you know it all. Run to God. And so I want to challenge you with this. We're all in a season of waiting. It might look different from you to you, but we're all in a season of waiting. Are you trusting God in that time of waiting? Because while it might feel like he's separate, the truth is that he is actually right there with us in that time of waiting. And he's got a plan and a purpose for us. So that's your challenge. Go read that Bible verse again. Look up the character of Sarah in the Bible, and we'll see you next time.